All right, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our City Council briefing session for March 29th. We don't have a meeting next week, so this portion of the meeting should be pretty quick. We have consent agenda. We have a couple potential changes on our legislative agenda tonight, and then we're going to be having a executive session where we don't expect to take further action on. So let me start with, I sent out an email on a couple of issues. Let me start with a roll call.
Council President Biggs.
Here.
Councilmember Burke.
Here.
Councilmember Cathcart.
Good.
Councilmember Kinnear.
Present.
Councilmember Mumm.
Here.
Councilmember Stratton.
Here.
Councilmember Wilkerson. Councilmember Wilkerson. I can see her, so all council members are present.
All right, thank you. So, I had essentially two matters. One of them are connected. We have a special budget ordinance tonight, 36028, that would take some funds to pay for new parking kiosks and parking meters. And then there's an accompanying resolution 21 that would give the city authority to enter into some bonding on that. The challenge is, for me, I don't know if other people feel this way, but originally the proposal was we were going to have kiosks on blocks where we had lots of meters, and then only meters when there was only a few spots. And then we were going to patrol those by LPR vehicles primarily, supplemented by foot patrol. And then the last proposal that came out changed that a bit to not have those in the downtown retail core. And the reason why it matters for the special budget ordinance and the resolution on the SIP is that they have different costs, and so the amounts would be different in terms of contracting. We have RFPs ready to go once we know what our mix wants to be. And then the second issue related just to the SIP part of it is that there's, now that we have the American Recovery Program Act, that's specifically for lost revenues. And so we had quite a few parking revenue losses, which pretty much would pay for these, so we wouldn't have to enter into any debt around that. So anyway, I don't know if there's a motion to defer it until for 2 weeks, which is our next meeting. And by then we will have had the meeting that parking's scheduled. That would be the 12th.
Are you asking for a motion?
I am.
So moved. Second.
Okay. Councilmember Cathcart.
Yeah, just for clarification, is the deferral to sort out the costs or to sort out whether we're using meters versus the kiosks?
It's the meters versus the kiosks because it changes how many of each. So it's not so much the costs, it's just that they need to know how many to order of each.
Okay.
It's been moved and seconded. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of deferring until April 12th indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, nay? Any abstentions? All right, that's for both the ordinance 36028 and the resolution 21. Okay, and then the other resolution is 23, and that is regarding applications to amend the city's comprehensive plan and setting the annual comprehensive plan amendment work program. We had our docketing committee that has 3 council members and also planning commission members, and they have a recommendation in front of us for consideration tonight. I had some questions from council members about possibly adding back in the projects around 53rd Avenue from single family to multifamily. If we could put actual conditions on it for affordable housing and actual street projects as opposed to just more planning. I did talk to the neighborhood council chair, Rita Connor, and asked her if she was looking for more planning, and at least as I understood her, she wasn't looking for more planning, but she was wanting the projects that had been the result of their prior planning to be put into place as a condition. And I just learned that from her at the end of last week, I think Friday, and so it's too short of a time to figure that out, and so I'm requesting a motion to defer this to April 12th as well, so that we could talk with staff and figure out what those conditions might look like. I'm imagining we wouldn't come up with the conditions specifically, but just that those types of conditions would be explored so that when it came back to a vote of the council at the end of the year, there would be specific conditions to vote on one way or the other. Councilmember Cathcart.
Yeah, and we can get into this later if we don't know, but I'm wondering what would be the mechanism to require that this be affordable, and is the property owner amenable to that?
So I don't know exactly. It's probably a staff question, but it would be a set thing, like 80% AMI or something like that. And I don't know if Kevin will know that. I heard back from a representative from one of the projects that they were amenable to that being considered. And again, it's not a set thing. It's not 100% of the property. It would just be a consideration to consider. So the short answer is the specifics would be as part of the final proposal at the end after we heard from the public. I did have a meeting with City Legal on Friday on both these potential conditions, and they said they were allowable as a condition.
I guess what I'm wondering is, would it be creating an inclusionary zone for this one property? Is that how we would do this?
It wouldn't, and Kevin, I'll shut up in a minute. You might know more about it. It wouldn't be an inclusionary zoning, I don't think, the way I understand that. It would be part of a developer agreement. It's my understanding. So I see Louis nodding his head if you want to. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So it wouldn't be a giveaway type of thing. It would just be, that would be a developer agreement if the developer wanted to do that. Because they could still just develop it as single family however they want within the thing. It's just if they wanted to go to the multifamily. Councilmember Stratton.
So you're asking to have this deferred for 2 weeks. We would talk about it, and then I want to make sure that I understand this process. It would come back to council. We would vote, and then all of these go back to the Plan Commission, correct?
Correct. Yep.
And then the Plan Commission does their thing, and then it comes back to us for final.
That's right.
So I will make the motion to defer for 2 weeks.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. Councilmember Mum.
We had a good discussion at docketing about including the neighborhood in this process and being very transparent about it. And so I'm wondering if perhaps the maker of the motion be open to deferring it for a month. So at least there'd be time for that chair to meet with her neighborhood.
Mm-hmm. I would not be open for deferring it a month. I don't, Louis, is that too much time?
I think during the development of the proposal, there would be plenty of time for back and forth between the developer and the neighborhood and the city if it does move forward. And
Yep. I would.
So you're saying a month?
we could go a month. That's starting to push our time frame, but
Okay. I'm going to wait to see if anybody else has comments.
Councilmember Wilkerson.
Well, I was just going to comment. I was going to shoot for a month also. Councilmember Stratton, that's a really tight turnaround, and Rita is an excellent neighborhood chair, but I don't think she's had a chance to talk to everybody. And if they don't have a voice, I'd be really concerned. I think it just come back to bite us in the butt.
Councilmember Kinnear, and then Councilmember Cathcart.
And I would concur with Councilmember Wilkerson. I think a month is reasonable, and I think it is about including the neighborhood. It is about being transparent, and it's not just about this one development, but it's about that whole area, what it's going to look like, how we're planning for the future. So the decision we make regarding that proposal is going to set the stage for other developments and going forward what that whole area is going to look like. It's an important decision, and I think a month is reasonable. So that would be my ask as well.
Councilmember Cathcart.
Yeah, I just thought I'd ask. So, Kevin, you're staffing this, correct? How much would those 2 weeks impact your timeline and what you need to get done?
That's very difficult to answer, council member. I'm not quite sure what level of consultation and coordination council is looking for here. And the reason I ask that is that this is just to include it on the docket. We typically do have several months of interaction with them. So I'm just a little curious what scope of coordination council's thinking of here.
Well, since I made the request, we had a very public docketing meeting, and the vote was 6-0 not to put this on the current plan. So there would be time to go back with a neighborhood plan because of all the transportation issues, and especially because of COVID and communication's a little tough. I'm just asking for an extra 2 weeks so that chair can go back and tell her neighborhood what's going on.
So, if I understand the question we have for you, Kevin, is putting aside, I don't think anyone's asking you to go to the neighborhood in the next 2 weeks or 4 weeks, but the question is, if you don't know for sure which which projects are on your program, can you still do your work in time to meet your deadline at the end of the year? That's the question. I mean, there's no debate about or I shouldn't say there's no debate. I haven't heard any debate about the other one, so I don't know that you can't do any work over the next month. But if you don't have the final go for which projects, is that extra 2 weeks going to be an issue for you, I guess?
I would say that just from rule of thumb, a month would be the absolute limit as far as all of the things that we have to do in a year to finish the application process. 30 days would certainly give the neighborhood plenty of time to have a meeting between when we request information and when they get back to us. But that's assuming they're meeting monthly, so I'd have to check. Yeah. But I would say, gut feeling, I wouldn't go past 30 days. That's starting to make us worried about scope.
And thanks. I'll update that they do. I think I said I met with them, or I talked with her Friday, but actually I think it was Wednesday. But she said they are meeting in the middle of April on the 14th. And then she had a land use committee of her neighborhood the next day after our call that she was going to talk to. But that's not the whole neighborhood. And I told them I'd go to their council meeting on the 14th. And, of course, the District 2 council members can go as well to get their feedback. So the question, Councilmember Stratton, you've been requested a friendly amendment to go to the 26th instead of the 12th. Do you accept that?
I'll accept that and change my motion to a month.
Okay. And Councilmember Burke, you were the second on that, I think. Do you accept it?
Okay.
Okay. All right. So the amendment before us is to move this resolution to April 26th. Is there any further discussion? Okay. Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. I only heard two of us, so can you raise your, I'm going to do the ayes again and raise your hand at the same time. Aye. Okay, all right. Any opposed, nay? Abstentions? All right, that was 7-0. All right, now Mr. Freebot can call the applicants and tell them not to come tonight. So, all right. That was all the agenda item. Well, let me see. Nope, there's another item on the, if you go to the resolutions, the mayor has requested, and I told her I had no objection to it and encouraged it, that we consider the appointments for Marlene Feist as Public Works Division Director and Richard Giddings as Fleet Services and Jeff Teal as Facilities Director, which are resolutions 26, 27, and 28, in order to get them in place and on the job. To do that, we would have to suspend the rules. And so is there a motion to suspend the rules for making agenda adjustments?
So moved.
Is there-
Second.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Aye. All those opposed, nay. Abstentions? All right, that passes 7-0. And then under hearings, there is also a request to substitute a new version of ordinance C36024 to make sure that the correct planning commission findings for each ordinance are included, which have been filed and circulated, I believe. Is there a motion to make that substitution?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, nay? Any abstentions? All right, that is substituted, which I think brings us to the consent agenda. I don't think there's any.
Reports, contracts, and claims. Item number 1 has been tabled indefinitely. Item number 2, value blanket renewal with Consolidated Supply, Spokane Valley, Washington, for service brass and ball valves, $220,000 including tax. Number 3, 5-year value blanket orders for asphalt mixes with A, Central Premix, B, Shamrock Manufacturing, C, Lakeside Industries. Total estimated annual expenditures, $330,000 including tax. Item number 4, value blanket renewal with Haskins Steel for miscellaneous stock steel, estimated annual expenditure, $200,000 including tax. Number 5, master contract with Copiers Northwest Incorporated for expenditures relating to copiers and printers citywide, utilizing Washington State Contract Number 06619, NASPO Number 140595, from April 1, 2021 through March 31, 2024, $300,000 including tax. Item number 6, contract amendment with F.A. Bartlett, adding FEMA language, adding additional funding and correcting end term, $150,000. Total contract amount, $250,000. Item number 7, contract amendment with Willis Towers Watson Insurance Services for additional insurance policies to cover both cyber and terrorism issues, $14,720.79. Total contract amount, $74,720.79. Number 8, contract amendment with Desimone Consulting for federal lobbying services, $36,000. Number 9, contract with Questica to implement new financial planning and management application, $170,000 per year. Number 10, amendment number 1 to the interlocal agreement entered into with the University District Public Development Authority, consistent with the adoption of Resolution 2021-16 entitled Sprague Phase 2 and Riverside Avenue Streets Projected Limited Tax General Obligation Bond Series 2021 taxable. Item number 11, report of the mayor of Pending A, claims and payments of previously approved obligations, including those of Parks and Library through March 19, 2021. Total $6,082,715.91 with Parks and Library claims approved by the respective boards. Warrants excluding Parks and Library total $3,875,022.58. B, payroll claims of previously approved obligations through March 20, 2021, $7,281,099.37. Item number 12, City Council meeting minutes for March 15 and March 18, 2021.
All right. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed, nay? Any abstentions? All right, that passes unanimously. Unless there's any other business for us for the good of the order, we're going to move to an executive session.
Council President,
Oh, yeah. Councilmember.
maybe I'm having a brain slip. Did we actually make a motion to add those positions to the agenda, or did we just suspend the rules?
You did not slip. That would be my slip. So thank you so much. Let's go back to, that was resolutions 26, 27, 28. Is there a motion to add them to tonight's legislative agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All right. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, nay? Any abstentions? All right, they are added to the agenda. Thanks so much for bringing that to my attention. And in case haven't made it clear, I'll take feedback anytime. So please, that's very helpful. Okay, so now it's time for executive session, and City Attorney Ormsby, if I understand it, the executive session is going to be for the purposes of potential litigation and labor negotiations.
Yes.
And how much
And
time?
I would say, Council President, we're probably looking at 30 minutes.
All right, then I will call it to 4:30. So we'll be in executive session till 4:30 by my clock, and which is a little over 30 minutes, but seems like a round ending. So we'll be exiting out of this meeting. Hannah Lee will keep this meeting live, but not able to listen in to our executive session. She will have sent you a link, and it's for pretty much council members only and attorneys, except we are going to have Megan Steinholfsen from HR for the labor negotiations piece. All right, this is Council President again. We've come to the end of our executive session, and we are now adjourning our briefing session. We'll see people back at 6 p.m., and if you want to comment on anything, feel free to sign up online between 5 and 6. We're adjourned.